At one point in our history, railroading was one of Maine's most robust industries. In fact, the Maine Central Railroad system was once the longest railroad in New England. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten learned all that today at a new year-round exhibit at the Seashore Trolley Museum in Kennebunkport.
History in motion. Trains that chug on these tracks are more than a model of the Maine Central Railroad. They're a storybook.
This specific exhibit really tells a lot of stories. It tells the history of Maine railroading.
When you think of Maine, you might think of farming and outdoor adventure, but probably not trains.
I don't think today people think of trains much when they think of Maine, and that's something that should change.
The Maine Central Railroad came into fruition after a merger between the Androscoggin and Kennebec Railroad and the Penobscot and Kennebec Railroad in 1862.
Railroads actually affected how dairy farming was done in the state. Historically, you weren't able to get the milk or the cream or anything to the market quick enough, so you sold locally. As soon as the trains came around with icebox cars, they switched over from hard cheeses, which they could actually keep, to milks and cheeses, which they could then ship to Boston.
Maine's rail history didn't start with Maine Central. The first line of railroad tracks in Maine was built by Bangor and Piscataquis Canal and Railroad Company, connecting Bangor to Old Town in 1836.
I'm 88.
The same year, museum volunteer Ross Wyman was born. As Wyman takes in the exhibit, flashbacks of his life growing up in Bangor, Orono, and Jonesport come rushing.
My aunt used to be the librarian in that building that's made out of brick there.
He has stories for days.
Back in the 40s and early 50s, the tracks were kind of bumpy on the way from Bangor down to Jonesport.
Here, Mainers can do more than read about what railroading was like in Maine. They can see it from Wyman's point of view. In Kennebunkport, Raya Wooten, News Center, Maine.
Ross Wyman says back in the day, you would have had to get off the train in Columbia Falls and have someone drive you the rest of the way to Jonesport as the train went on to Machias and Calais.